Hot on the heels of OpenAI and Google last week, Microsoft is holding its Build Developer Conference this week, and we today are exploring what they might be saying about AI and AI strategy coming up. Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief. We are in the season of big announcements, annual developer conferences, and of course that means we are getting to learn a lot about the various big tech and big lab strategy when it comes to AI in the immediate future. Last week was a pretty interesting one to kick this season off. On Monday, OpenAI tried to scoot in ahead of Google, announcing GPT-4o, and clearly putting emphasis on some new modalities of interacting with AI as the future they're driving towards. Now, you could tell that OpenAI was sort of rushing to get this announcement out because it is very unlike them to announce something and not make it available. And while we did get an update to ChatGPT with the GPT-4o model, we have not yet gotten the updated voice tools, which so much of the presentation was about. The next day on Tuesday, we also got Google's version of an AI assistant in Project Astra, but we also got about 1,000 other announcements. And overall, it's clear how these events showed the different strategies of these companies coming to light. OpenAI continues to try to be at the very edge of the state of the art, pushing consumer experiences in the direction that they think AI is driving us, while Google, while not surrendering the state of the art, seems to be ultimately more concerned with integrating AI across its suite of products and taking advantage of the existing installs they have as a competitive advantage. So what can we expect from Microsoft? Well, the theme of the event is how will AI shape your future? So no big suspense on what the main topic is going to be, but I put together 5 things that I am watching for at this event that I think will tell us a lot about Microsoft's strategy going forward. First question, what's the centerpiece they try to get attention around? Will it be the rumored AI Explorer, which is theoretically deeply integrated into Windows? Based on the buzz that we've seen in advance, it seems like Microsoft really wants to make sure that Windows is the first AI-enabled operating system. The big question at this event will be how much this is buried in the rest of the announcements versus presented right up front as the big thing. As you'll see throughout this episode, Microsoft has a lot of different choices around where they could put the emphasis. They could put it here in the operating system, they could put it in hardware, they could put it on search. Alternatively, they could focus on Copilot integrations across their enterprise suite. Now, they may do a little bit of what Google did, where they just pummel us with so many different things that it's not exactly clear where there is singular emphasis, and instead they might just try to show that AI is for Microsoft everywhere and let us sort it out, but where they decide to put that emphasis is ultimately going to be one of the most instructive things that could come out of this event. Related, do we see a new, even more AI-integrated Bing search experience? Where this question is coming from is a couple parts. First of all, Google is pretty fundamentally changing its search experience with its new AI overviews. This is the update for what they had previously called the search generative experience, and basically now Google is just normalizing AI overviews as a part of every search. This represents the biggest shift to the experience of Google search since it was launched. And if you've spent any time around people in the SEO industry or any of the other areas that touch Google search, you can see what a big deal it is as they try to figure out exactly what it's going to mean. To some, it represents a fundamental break in the architecture of search on the internet that could have pretty dramatic impacts on how people get to different websites. Now, at the same time, before OpenAI's event, we had gotten a bunch of rumors that they might be launching a search experience as well. And while they didn't exactly, at least they didn't in name, it seems pretty clear to me that the input field on ChatGPT is just going to become the starting point for a ChatGPT search experience. In other words, search is just going to become an integrated feature of ChatGPT. And even if they don't explicitly announce a competitor to Perplexity and Google Search, that's effectively what they're building. The more they can get people to shift their behavior over to asking questions of a chatbot like ChatGPT, the more natural it will be that people go there to get answers to the types of questions they might have used search for before. The question is, where does that leave Bing? Is Bing's strategy just to be the engine that helps power ChatGPT, or are they trying something else? I'm not sure how much we'll learn about that this week, but it seems like a pretty relevant question. A third thing I'm watching for, sort of related to what we were just discussing, is how much Microsoft touts their OpenAI partnership at this event. There have been tons of discussions about Microsoft potentially moving away from or at least hedging their relationship with OpenAI, and the question is whether we'll see more evidence of that. So where have these ideas that Microsoft might be hedging come from? Well, first of all, we're seeing them work on new models that are in-house and not connected to OpenAI. We also had the husk of Inflection come over and join Microsoft, with the Inflection co-founder Mustafa Suleyman joining to lead Microsoft's AI efforts overall. And we've also seen them partner with companies like Mistral and Databricks in ways that some have taken as a sign that they may be concerned about their relationship with OpenAI. Now, my take has been that especially in the wake of Sam Altman's firing and rehiring, their hand is pretty well forced in this. The deal that Microsoft has with OpenAI allows them to commercialize OpenAI's technology right up to the point where OpenAI achieves AGI. What achieving AGI means, though, is determined by OpenAI's board. After we saw what happened last November, with the board acting in a way that had to look pretty capricious from Microsoft's point of view, are you really going to just leave your long-term business strategy when it comes to AI to them? And this is why I don't believe that anyone is lying or putting on a front when they say that they hope their relationship with OpenAI remains as good as it does now forever. I think that is genuinely what they're hoping for. However, that doesn't mean that they can just sit Pollyanishly and hope for the best. There's simply too much at stake. Anyways, it'll be interesting to see whether they use this as a chance to start to carve out some narrative space away from OpenAI, or whether the connection and partnership is discussed as full-throatedly as ever. Somewhat related, I'm watching to see if they announce their own major LLM initiative that competes with GPT. When news about Microsoft's in-house model MAI-1 broke, the company's CTO said that they always are making new models. Some of them are internal, some of them are external, and then it's not a big deal. That'll be put to the test a little bit this week in terms of where they decide to put their emphasis. If they don't really discuss it or kind of breeze over it, it makes that idea that this is just something they're always going to be working on in the background feel a little bit more legit. Finally, a fifth question is how much emphasis Microsoft puts on AI hardware versus AI software. The other big contender, of course, for what Microsoft chooses to focus on at Build is its vision for AI PCs. And part of the reason that they might want to put their emphasis there is that according to sources, it seems like they believe that their new laptops powered with ARM chips can actually beat Apple's M3 powered MacBook Air when it comes to CPU and AI accelerated tasks. Writes The Verge, after years of failed promises from Qualcomm, Microsoft believes the upcoming Snapdragon X Elite processors will finally offer the performance it has been looking for to push Windows on ARM much more aggressively. Microsoft is so confident in these new Qualcomm chips that it's planning a number of demos that will show how these processors will be faster than an M3 MacBook Air for CPU tasks, AI acceleration, and even app emulation. Part of what makes this interesting to watch is that while all of the big computer makers are very stoked on this idea of the AI PC era, it's not at all clear that consumers are bought in on this yet. And for that reason, I think it would be interesting if Microsoft does decide to put a big chunk of its narrative chips in that area. Anyways, it's going to be interesting no matter what. The event kicks off tomorrow, and I will make sure to keep you posted around what we find out. For now, though, that is going to do it for today's AI Daily Brief. Until next time, peace.